I had been hiking through the dense forest for hours, a sense of calm washing over me as the sound of the wind rustled through the trees. The sunlight barely pierced the canopy above, creating a soothing, greenish glow that made everything feel serene. I'd come to these woods many times before, but this time, something was different. At first, it was subtle, a rustle of leaves behind me, the snapping of twigs. I shrugged it off, attributing it to the usual forest creatures that lived here. But the sounds continued, almost rhythmic. I slowed my pace, trying to listen carefully. Whoever, or whatever, was following me was doing so with intention. I stopped. The forest fell into an eerie silence, and for a few moments, I stood still, waiting. My instincts told me to keep moving, but curiosity rooted me in place. The sense of being watched was almost palpable. I turned around quickly, but there was no one in sight. Only trees, underbrush, and the dense greenery that stretched for miles in every direction. I continued walking, a knot forming in my stomach. The sounds of footsteps resumed, this time much closer, and with a clarity that sent a chill up my spine. Whoever was out there wasn't just wandering, they were following me, and it seemed like they knew exactly where I was at all times. Finally, my patience gave way to my nerves. I turned around again, calling out, "Who's there?" To my surprise, I wasn't greeted by the usual silence. Instead, a figure stepped into view, moving through the underbrush with an unnatural grace. She was tall, her skin a deep shade of violet that shimmered in the dappled sunlight. Her eyes were striking, large and glowing with an intense, unnatural blue. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her armor, light but strong-looking, was made from materials that shimmered and reflected the light in ways that didn't seem possible. I instinctively took a step back, unsure whether I should flee or confront her. My mind raced, trying to process the image of the alien woman who had been following me. I had no idea who she was or what she wanted, but one thing was clear. She was no ordinary person. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper, as if I feared the answer. The woman regarded me with those glowing eyes, her expression unreadable. She didn't answer right away, as if taking in my presence as I was hers. After a moment, she spoke, her voice deep and resonant, yet strangely calming. "I've been following you for a reason," she said, her words clipped but direct. "I need to know if you're ready." "Ready?" I echoed, the confusion evident in my tone. "Ready for what?" The woman stepped closer, her movements fluid and controlled. Despite her imposing presence, there was no hostility in her demeanor. She was like a force of nature, a calm storm that could unravel everything in its path if needed. "You have a part to play," she said, "in a war that has been brewing for centuries. Your world is at the center of it." I blinked in disbelief, my mind spinning. "What do you mean? I'm just a regular guy. What could I possibly have to do with a war?" The woman's lips twitched into something resembling a smile, though it was more a knowing curve than anything else. "You don't believe me, do you? I understand, but I've been watching you. I was sent to protect you and prepare you for what is coming." Her words hung in the air, each syllable charged with an intensity that made me feel like I was standing on the edge of something monumental. "Sent? By who? What kind of war are you talking about?" The woman's gaze softened, though her eyes still glowed with the same eerie light. "I am not from this world. My people have watched over Earth for millennia, waiting for the time when your species would be ready to face the truth. The war I speak of is not one of your making, but one you will soon find yourself caught in." I shook my head, trying to make sense of it all. "I don't understand. Who's going to fight? Why me? Why have you been following me?" She took another step closer, and despite the fear creeping up my spine, I felt a strange calm wash over me. "I've been following you because you are important," she explained. "You are a key part of what's to come. The war that is coming is between those who seek to protect your planet and those who would enslave it. I've been sent to help you realize your potential, to prepare you for what you must become." I opened my mouth to speak, but couldn't find the words. This was insane. I was just a man hiking through the woods. I wasn't some chosen hero. But looking at her, hearing her words, I couldn't shake the feeling that what she said was true. There was something deep within me, some sense of responsibility I had never acknowledged before. "Why me?" I asked again, this time more quietly, as I began to question everything I had ever known about my life. The woman's eyes softened, and for the first time, I saw a hint of vulnerability in her gaze. "Because you have the power to change the outcome. Your choices will shape the future of your world and others." She reached out, placing her hand on my shoulder in an unexpectedly gentle gesture. "You've always known that you were different. You've always felt the weight of something greater calling to you. It's time to stop running from it." I felt a shiver of realization crawl up my spine. The truth was starting to sink in, slowly but surely. Whatever this was, whatever I was about to face, I couldn't turn away. The war, the destiny, the power. I had no choice but to confront it. "I'm ready," I said, though the words felt foreign coming from my mouth. The warrior woman nodded. "Good. Together, we will fight for your world. But first, we must prepare you." And so, my journey began. From that day forward, I was no longer just a regular guy. I was part of something much larger, something that stretched beyond my understanding. The warrior woman, whose name was Earthes, would be my guide as I learned the truth about my role in this intergalactic war. Together, we would face enemies far beyond my wildest imagination, and I would discover a strength I never knew I had. The Silent Pursuer is a story of destiny, hidden potential, and the emergence of a hero where least expected. It explores the idea that even the most ordinary individuals can be swept into extraordinary events, and that the protection of a single warrior can change the course of history. The Quiet Forest was just the beginning of the path that would lead to a battle for the future of Earth.